Okay, now I'm going to break this solo down for you into 13 separate licks. We're in the key of A, and this 12/8 blues. I'm using the neck pickup on this guitar here, this Heritage H535. Got the volume on around 8, 9. Okay, so lick 1 sounds like this. Okay, so for lick 1, it's going to come in on the 10th count, counting 12/8 slow blues here. And so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the 10, 11, 12, you're going to play these 3 notes. We're going to start right here in the first position minor pentatonic scale key of A. So we're going to start on the 10th count, bend that 7th fret of the G string slightly to about the 8th fret. Then bend, you're going to pull it down. First you bend the 7th fret up to almost the 8th fret sound. And then you're going to strike 7 on the G string and then bend slightly that 5th fret here on the G string. And then on the first count of the next bar, we're going to strike the 7th fret of the D string, our root note, our A note right here. And so we got this lick. And then we're going to add some just slight vibrato here to that root note. When you bend that 7th fret of the G string, we're almost bending to that 8th fret sound. It's always important to know what interval or sound that you're bending to. And in this case, it's the 8th fret of the G string. And that's simply a note taken from the blues scale, which is just, the minor pentatonic scale. We're adding that one note to it. Give us that blue note. Blues scale is just adding one note to the minor pentatonic scale. This is a flat 5 interval here. Gives us that really bluesy sound. So that's our first little phrase for the lick number 1. Now we're going to let that hang, and then on the 10, 11, 12, the same bar, the 10, 11, and 12th count, we're just going to play this simple phrase. We're approaching the D chord, and so we got 10, 11, 12 on that 5, 8, 5 here on the B string, 7. Now I'm going to take my first finger and slide from the 5th to the 7th fret on the G string. And this note right here is a D note, and right when we slide into that note of the 7th fret of the G string, that's when the D chord is coming in. Pretty basic concept. Landing on the root note as the chord happens. We got A, D, and E in the 12-bar blues, 1, 4, 5. So we let that ring out for a while, and then on the 11th count, we're going to play this. We're jumping back to the A chord, so I got 7 here on the D, 5, twice on the G string. That happens on basically the 11 upbeat. So I let this ring out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then right after the 11th count, we do that phrase. We're going to be bending up that 7th fret here on the G string twice, but only striking it once. And that's when your one chord, A chord, is coming back. This is a quick change 12-bar blues. Cut the sound off. And then on the next 10, 11, 12, we're going to play this phrase. That Chuck Berry type thing, teaching a previous course, where you just bend that 7th fret of the G string up slightly. And then bar your first finger on the 5th fret of the B and the high E strings. And then slide in quickly from 8 to 10. That's sliding directly into your root note here. That's your A note, 10th fret. And that I'll start the next bar. Okay, so that is it for lick number 1. Okay, lick 2 sounds like this. Okay, so for lick 2, now we're moving into the second position of the minor pentatonic scale. We're coming in on the 11th and 12th count here of the bar we previously slid in from 8 to 10. On the 11 and 12th count, just play those one time. Now the D chord, a 4 chord is coming around. Now we bend that 10th fret up, cut it off, and we wait for the 12th count to come around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're going to play 2 beats. It'll be the 16th notes here, and we're going to play twice on that 12th count. See, previously we did 8th notes on the bar before that, so you had, this time we're doing them quicker. So 8th notes in this 12-8 blues here. The 8th notes you're counting on every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. For every 1/8 note, there are 2 16th notes. So twice as fast. Then we take a rest real quick. And we're going to play that little phrase. So we played those 2 notes on the 10th fret here, the B string. And then there's a quick pause. And then we play this. And that phrase sounds good to me if you play all downstrokes, kind of really digging into the notes here. Barely bending that 10th fret here of the high E string. And you notice that 10th fret bend slightly here is about to that blues note again, giving us the blues scale. It's helpful to learn where those blues scale patterns occur all over the fretboard, and I'll teach you more about that in Blues Guitar Method 1. So if you're unfamiliar with that concept, please review Blues Guitar Method 1. So that have this. You got that quick hammer on, you hear tons of blues guitar players doing. So just that, hammering on 8 to 10 real quickly. So it sounds great to me over a slow blues. Striking downstroke, hammer on very quickly, 8 to 10, then 8, and then ending on that root note, 10th fret here, B string. Very simple lick here, Try to put as much feel as you can into that note, and you can kind of drag out that phrase as well. I'm kind of doing that in the tune. It doesn't have to be a strict rhythm. Drag it out even slower. That's the cool thing with the slow blues. You can kind of play with the rhythm inside of a lick a lot, make it sound, give it a lot more attitude, in my opinion. Okay, so that is it for lick 2. Okay, lick 3 sounds like this. Okay, lick 3, got some cool things happening in it, in my opinion. It's moving back to the first position minor pentatonic scale. And so I'm going to bend slightly that 8th fret, bar my first finger on the 8, on the 5th fret of the high E and the B, pull off 8 to 5. Now you're going to do this bend to about, to the blues note again here. A lot of times, it sounds great to bend to the blues note instead of bending up 2 frets, because that blues note is just some essence of the blues, in my opinion. Sounds really cool to utilize that when bending. Now, hammer on, this is a cool lick many blues players use as well. So you hammer on 5 to 7 on the G, but you got to keep your first finger bent after you hammer it. So now I'm going to lay my first finger down on the G and the B strings, and then use an upstroke, downstroke. But I'm going to keep that 5th fret on the B string held down while I slightly bend up that 5th fret on the G string. It just gives it a lot of attitude, and it's one of those essential blues moves you have to learn. Just a real easy, basically easy lick. You can kind of get caught up here if you're not used to playing that type of a phrase, and then keeping one string down and then bending it at the same time. You can also vary your attack on a lick like this, because we're playing over a low dynamics section right now, so you can play it really lightly. Sounds great. The next phrase is we're going to do this when the next bar comes around. So I'm doing a rake and bending that 7th fret again on the G string up to the blues note here. And then I'm also doing one of those fast hammer-ons. So that little fast hammer-on can be used in a lot of different places. And if you notice, this little thing I'm doing right here, it's very similar to this phrase we did in lick number 2. Similar phrase, just a little bit more notes and in a different position. And to me, if you're building a solo, it's helpful to include things that sound similar, maybe in different positions and areas over the fretboard, to just give you a cohesive sound. Then we had this lick later on after that other phrase. Similar, but not exactly the same. Give you the impression that we're building something and moving towards something. Okay, so that is it for lick 3.